Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked. Hello and welcome to episode 101.
Dalmatians. I'm sorry.
Of this podcast. We're in three digits, anymore, triple digits.
I know, it's
from
insane.
Now until the
Forever.
999th episode. So,
which is going to be in 10 years. We'll see if podcasts are still a thing.
That was fast math.
It's probably not accurate. Somebody is listening going, Alicia, just stop trying to do math. Are you calculating it?
Oh, wait. It's weekly.
Yeah, because 2
I was
years
thinking
is
days.
100. So then, if we need... No, see, I'm wrong. It's like 12 years. See, we shouldn't have looked deeper into it. We should have just given me this false sense of confidence.
It's actually 19 years.
Just kidding. Keeps getting worse. Move on.
Anyway, today we are going back to the special topic. It is my turn to do special topic of circus crimes. And I'm very excited because we just ended you on some really heavy information, and now I get to bring the mood back happy for one episode, and then we'll get into some really heavy information again next week.
Yeah, sorry guys.
But for now, we're going to be happy. Do you have a fun fact to start me with?
I do, and I don't know if I already told you this fun fact. I don't think I did.
I probably won't know anyway.
Butterflies
so tell
fart.
It to me again. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Butterflies
this is strange.
Fart. I don't know how it came up in conversation, but me and Caitlin were having a video chat, and she said something about it sounding like a butterfly's fart. And I was like, I don't know if butterflies fart. And I Googled it, and butterflies do indeed fart. So that's my fun fact.
Wow.
Short and sweet, because mine are usually long, and it makes no sense. So
I think it makes me feel better that even such teeny tiny little creatures can have gas issues.
Does it make you feel better? Okay, that's good.
I think so. I think it does. But
I'm not sure.
Interesting.
But I think so. Right? Really weird. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know how they fart. I didn't look into the science of it. It doesn't feel like butterflies should be able to do that. But
I mean,
we're just gonna own.
If they have
fact.
gas, they have gas.
All right. Everybody has bodily functions, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
My fun fact is today is the very last day of February. That's not my fun fact, but my fun fact is related to the fact that today is the very last day of February, because February is Black History Month, and so my fun fact is Black History Month related.
Okay.
And it is that a Cotton Club singer, Esther Jones, known by her stage name as Baby Esther, was the person who the character Betty Boop was created after.
Oh, that's
Although
awesome.
she never got credit for it,
Of
and
course
Betty
not.
Boop was white. Baby Esther, in her act, she used to dance, make funny faces, roll her eyes, and she always had nonsense phrases in her songs, such as boop boop be doo. And
okay.
clearly, Betty Boop was modeled after her.
Right?
Even looks like her. She never got credit for it, despite, trying to sue for rights and whatnot.
That's awful. Well, we're
It
spreading
is
the word.
awful, but
That's
yes,
the truth
we
to
are.
Betty Boop.
Baby
Give credit
Esther
where credit
is
due.
the greatest. So it is still February, and we are still not drinking. However, I finally have
March 1st, baby. I'm holding on for a sangria recipe.
Well, today I'm drinking my herbal pretend wine blend.
Oh, yeah. She talked about this on a Patreon episode that she ordered it.
I did. It's called...
Does it taste like wine?
Well, so you're supposed to mix it with a drink. If you just mix it in water, I don't know. I haven't done that. Okay. It said the two best things to mix it with is either cranberry juice or tart cherry juice. I've been mixing mine with tart cherry juice. And it does, I mean, tart cherry juice kind of tastes like wine-ish anyway, you know? Yeah.
And it's like a mood booster too or something. Like it helps. Like,
it's a stress reliever. Yeah. So it reduces the feelings of extreme anxiety or stress, which I have social anxiety and that's why I drink anyway. So, I feel like it helps me. I did drink it when I went out with some friends the other night and I did feel, you know, good enough to be talking to everybody. So it worked in that sense. It does make me a little sleepy. Okay. It also makes me a little bit gassy. Okay. But it's good.
So butterflies and Sierra farts is what we're learning.
Yeah. Okay. The most annoying thing about it for me is that you can see it kind of like leaves a residue or film.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And when I was reading about it, you know, it says that's on purpose. It doesn't completely dissolve. Okay. Most of it dissolves, 99% of it dissolves, but it doesn't completely dissolve because it's herbs, not powder.
That makes sense.
You know, they're finely ground.
If you mix a herb into a sauce, that you can still see it.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. You can still see it, but the flavor has dispersed into it. So it's very interesting. It's called Quit Your Whining by Apothecary. And I'm glad to have found it. I'll use it, you know, at least for a little while. For the rest of this month and probably for the next
when you're
probably for the next couple of times I go out if I have to be the DD.
There you go. Keep it in your purse, ready to whip it out. Mm-hmm. I am drinking Diet Ginger Ale. Nothing exciting.
Jesse also loves ginger ale. So.
It's my favorite, but I refuse to drink regular pop unless once in a blue moon I love a Coca-Cola. It's got to be cold. Yeah. It's got to be in a can. Got to be hot outside.
Or Baja Blast Mountain Dew straight out of Taco Bell.
But that's an American treat. The amount of times at work that I say I would murder somebody for American Taco Bell is alarming.
Oh my goodness.
Like Christy, my boss, she sits behind me and she's always like, "What is it with you and Taco Bell?" I'm like, "You don't understand."
Yeah. It's really funny to me because as good as you think American Taco Bell is, the Taco Bell in Alabama is probably the worst Taco Bell of all the states I've ever lived in. And it's still better than Canada.
Taco Bell was better, I will admit, from my two experiences with you. But yes, Canadian Taco Bell is wet diaper. If you live in Canada and you know of a good Taco Bell place, please tell me. I will drive there.
Yeah.
I think it would be less of a drive for me to just go to Blaine, Washington, and at the border when they ask me what I'm doing, I'm going to be like, I'm getting Taco Bell. They're going to be like, she's for sure smuggling drugs. Let's search the car. Yeah, that's what's going to happen to me for sure.
It's worth the search. Taco Bell is worth the search.
Right? And Target. Taco Bell and Target. Just let me go. Oh.
But anyways, before we start this, we do have to take a really quick break to hear a promo from the podcast, No Fucking Way.
And we will be right back.
Okay. Welcome back. And speaking of Canada, I have a podcast. I have a case for you today that comes from Canada.
On your podcast. Sure enough.
On my podcast. Circus Crimes in Canada. Today I am going to be telling you about the Toronto Circus Riot of 1855.
Just a smidgen ago. Okay.
Old-timey fun.
I love old-timey. It's crazy to think that circuses have been around for that long.
Yeah. Okay, so the setting for today's story is in Toronto, Canada. I'm sorry, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Today, Toronto is the most populated city in Canada with 2.7 million people from all over the world. More than half of Toronto's residents were born somewhere else. More than half belong to minority groups. Over 200 ethnic origins are represented. and over 160 languages are spoken in this city.
Holy shit. Things that I didn't even know. I know that taxes in Ontario are insane, though. So.
Well, they're doing something right.
Apparently.
It is known as a, quote, an international center of business, finance, art, sports, and culture, and is recognized as one of the most multicultural and cosmopolitan cities in the world.
Wow.
End quote. But it wasn't always this way. Actually, there is one major circus-related event that helped Toronto become what it is today.
Okay.
And that is this riot.
Cool. 2 random questions. Have you ever been to Canada at all?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. And then I had this moment where I was like, did I forget a conversation that we've had and she has been here? Okay. I was just curious. The only time I've been to Toronto was the last time I came to see you. My first layover, or my layover going home, was in Toronto.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about Toronto.
I have too.
That is one of the places I've always... Yeah, me too. I feel like Toronto is the closest I could get to feeling like I'm in Europe without going to Europe.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I don't know why. I just feel like that's what Toronto reminds me of. Like a little bit of Europe in North America.
Yeah. Quebec City is like that too. It's really old. And they have a little town that looks exactly like Stars Hollow. Fun fact for you.
What?
So we need to go there also.
Yes.
Anyways, continue.
Toronto was settled way back in 1750, and from then until about 1855, Toronto was very much a frontier town.
Oh.
Like, imagine dirt roads and cowboys with spurs on their boots and pistols on their hips, but make it grunge and in Canada.
Love it. I'm actually
you there?
Obsessed with that. It's my new aesthetic. Stay tuned, guys.
Yes. In 1848, the Catholic population was rising in the mostly Protestant city, and as we know from the Salem witch trials episode, Protestants did not like Catholics. So, a sort of mob, or militia, was formed, a group of Protestants, of course, for just in case the Catholics, or anyone really, pissed them off. This group was called the Orange Order. The Orange Order was a social club, much like the Freemasons that most people have heard of. They were important people of the area who were Protestant and Irish and took care of their friends and family. Being people of power, they basically controlled a lot of Toronto. Some were in the police department, some were in government positions, and others were just normal, everyday people who knew that they had friends in very high places. And with these friends, they were rarely accused and almost never convicted of any crimes.
I thought you were making a pun for a second when you said friends in high places, and I was like, trapeze high?
Oh, nice. That would have been a good one. So what does all this have to do with the circus? Well, in July of 1855, S.B. Howe's Star Troupe Menagerie and Circus came to Toronto for a 2-night performance. Oh. I love the word menagerie.
Me too.
And I had to, spell it because I was like, I'm never going to remember that this menagerie word is menagerie.
Menagerie.
Right?
You wrote it phonetically. Okay.
I did.
Makes sense.
At the time, almost all circuses were traveling circuses, and they usually only performed for one night. They would come into town, spend the night setting up, perform all day the next day, and then spend that night cleaning up to hit the road and head to the next stop. Okay. But this was a special 2-day event. They had brought clowns and acrobats, equestrian trick riders, and a large variety of animals like big cats and elephants, and even a giraffe. Have you ever seen a giraffe at a circus?
No. But speaking of giraffes, they got robbed in terms of lifespan, I would just like to say.
No.
They live 15 to 25 years, and elephants live up to 60 years. So I just want to say, how does that make any sense?
I feel like without a chiropractor, it'd be hard to live very long. You got a lot of, don't they only... Wasn't one of your fun facts that they have the same amount of neck bones as us? How the fuck do they support themselves that long? Even 25 years sounds like a lot.
Fact. Yeah. She was like, wait, giraffes don't live that long. And I'm like, what? And then we went down a rabbit hole of different animal lifespans. We were productive.
Definitely.
But no, I've never seen a giraffe in a circus, and now I'm upset.
I know. I feel like I've been robbed. Although I don't think circus animals are good. I've already been to circuses that had animals.
Yeah.
Right. I've been to some in the past, and if I had to have seen animals, I'm sad I didn't get to see a giraffe. Anyway.
That's a fair statement.
So, anyway, SB House Star Troop Menagerie and Circus spent their first night, Wednesday, July 11th, setting up. They spent all the next day, Thursday, July 12th, performing. And instead of tearing down the tents that night, they got to leave it up for the next performance the next day. And so they had a free Thursday night to go out and explore the frontier city of Toronto.
Oh, God.
What is there to do in a frontier city? Well, exactly what misfit clowns and circus performers of the time wanted to do. Get drunk and see boobies.
He could have just come to this podcast. I mean...
Toronto had a population of only 40,000 at the time, but it had at least 150 taverns, 200 beer stores, and nearly 100 brothels.
Oh, shit.
So, that's what you do there. You get drunk and see boobies. The group of clowns...
That's a great one.
The group of clowns started in on a few taverns and then decided that they were going to go check out the one place that they had heard the most and best things about. The home of Mary Ann Armstrong, aka a brothel. The problem was, this was actually the one they heard the most about because it was most frequented by the loudest kind of people. Firemen.
Oh, God.
The firemen back in 1855 were not a hired group of people trained to fight fires. It was... Whoa. Someone just slammed a door in my house. Blah, where was I? It was a group of rough and rowdy strong dudes who wanted to be seen as heroes. They were all volunteers, signed on to do this as a social club, a lot like that Orange Order. But this was like a competitive game for them. There were multiple different fire companies in Toronto, and when a fire was started, they would all race over there at the same time, trying to be the first group to arrive and save the day.
Okay.
This particular fire company that most frequented Mary Ann Armstrong's was called Hook and Ladder Firefighting Company. And they seemed to be even more rough and rowdy than the average volunteer fire group. Once, they raced over to a fire and arrived at the same time as another fire company. Wanting to be the heroes, the Hook and Ladder Fire Company started a fight with the other fire company, trying to make them leave. When the two fire companies fought for long enough that some police officers came and tried to break it up, the two fire companies teamed up and fought the police officers.
What? This is giving me like Santa Claus robbery Looney Tunes vibes. Like, can we just focus on putting out the fire and
all of this took place
macho-ness away?
All of this took place while the fire was still burning behind them.
Oh my God.
And the fire ended up burning the building to the ground because no one put it out.
Really?
Yep.
Guys.
The Hook and Ladder Fire Company has some ties to the Orange Order, So when it was time to punish them, they got off the hook.
Seriously?
No repercussions at all. None of them got in trouble.
That's fucked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they beat up some firefighters, then beat up some police officers, allowed a building to burn to the ground, and everyone's like, I didn't see anything.
If I were residents of said building, I would have pied.
Well, it was probably a beer store, a tavern, or a brothel.
Yeah.
So that's all that existed.
Beer store, it definitely got lit up fast.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus, guys. That's a very funny mental image, though, I will say.
Definitely. This whole episode is a very funny mental image.
Somebody needs to draw that as a cartoon. Brilliant.
Oh, you just wait. You just wait.
Oh, God.
Just wait until I continue. Okay, so back to Marianne Armstrong's place. Sorry, this is an important part that I need to not mess up. It sounds like the start of a joke. A clown and a fireman walk into a brothel. It doesn't end in a very joking way, though.
Oh, no.
No one knows for sure what happened to get to the point that it did. Some rumors say that a clown was running his mouth and it pissed off a firefighter. Some said that the clowns cut in line in front of the firefighters, so they deserved it. And others say that a firefighter started the issue when he knocked the hat off the head of a clown and refused to pick it up. More likely, there was just a lot of men there that night. Only the usual few girls. And also a lot of drinks. With firemen and clowns fighting for the same women's attention, tensions were high. That was kind of a tongue twister, and I didn't mean for it to be. Whatever the issue was, it caused the men, the clowns, and the firefighters to start a brawl in the brothel. It ended in 2 firemen badly beaten, and a fun story for the clowns to talk about on the way back to their tent to prepare for the next day's performance.
Oh, jeez.
But the firemen were pissed. They needed revenge, and they knew just who to call in to get it. Their friends over at the Orange Order. The next day, on Friday the 13th, the circus performers started up their show in full gear, ready to show the town a good time. But not too long into the show, people who were there to see the show started clearing out. And people who were very angry started flooding in. The Orange Order had recruited the police officers they knew, all the fire companies that they had connections to, and other mobsters and tough guys to start a riot at the circus. As they walked through, they warned all vendors and patrons of the circus to either clear out or join in on running the circus out of town.
That seems like an overreaction. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I get why some rough and rowdy fireman might be embarrassed that he got beat up by a clown in front of girls with their boobies out, but this gets real bad.
I know.
When the angry mob first got near the performers, they began throwing bottles and stones at them. The clowns tried to get away, but the mob caught up with them and began beating them.
Oh, no.
Outside, other rioters started ripping up the tents, catching their gear on fire, even though they were firemen, and tipping over their wagons. The clowns were very outnumbered and getting their asses kicked. Some jumped into a nearby lake to get away from the angry mob. The only thing off limits was the animals. A police officer who was also a rioter, did stop another rioter from setting an animal cage on fire. He was like, that's too far. Animals didn't do nothing. Good. Kill the clowns.
Oh, good. Kill the clowns. You had me really nervous for a second there.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
The riot only stopped when the mayor came and took an axe out of a fireman's hand as he was about to swing it on a clown on the ground. He was literally swinging to murder a clown, and the mayor stopped him.
This story is not real.
It is. It is, and it's insane.
It keeps getting weirder.
I know. When the angry Orange Order members finally started to cool off, the circus quickly grabbed what was left of their belongings and got out of there. They didn't even bother reporting to anyone, about what had just happened, because the local police department was literally there helping attack them.
Yeah.
The fire company thought that they had won, and in a way they did. When they were set to be tried for their crimes, everyone there had each other's back and were witnesses, claiming that none of this even happened and no one was even there. Even the police officers said they couldn't be sure who had done what. I don't remember seeing that happen. But the local, not-so-powerful people who lived in Toronto were pissed and made their concerns known. The Orange Order was too powerful, too scary, too brutal, and have been getting away with ridiculous crimes and violence for far too long. They wanted change, and the people in government who weren't associated with the Orange Order agreed with them.
Okay.
The Orange Order members had always been able to bully people into voting them into high places, but at the next election, they were finally voted out. Sort of. Some sources say that the new guy actually was an Orange Order member, but that he was different than the other ones and wasn't into all the violence and nonsense. But either way, violence was out. With them no longer having the violent control over everything, a provincial board was created to clean up all the other corruption down the line. The entire police force, including the police chief, was fired and replaced with new people who were under strict control of the new city government. This was the first non-political police force that Toronto ever had. And this is what caused Toronto to eventually move in the direction of non-political, what's the word that I'm looking for? Departments, such as police and fire and whatnot, and led it to be what it is today.
Okay.
In 2019, a circus artist and comedian prepared a show, much like a play, to reenact this event. I'm not sure if it ever happened because COVID followed shortly after it was announced, but she had planned like a whole thing where the audience would be taken to different sets to peek in to the lives of the clowns and then the firemen and then the brothel and then be at the mock of a circus performance where the riot broke out, all in order to show the changes that were made to the city of Toronto. These changes in government, police, and power holds in Toronto is what made more people interested in coming to the area where they could finally feel safe. And so, essentially, Toronto is as wonderful as it is today, all because a clown and a fireman walked into a brothel.
Brilliant. I love it.
That's the story of this Toronto Circus Riot.
Great job.
It was a shorter one, but holy cow. Can you believe this happened?
A lot happened in like 10 minutes. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, a lot fucking happened.
Ay. That was
and it was on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you can't write
Love
this.
It.
Like, honestly.
I know.
Somebody needs to make this into a movie just so I can watch it.
Yeah, I really wish that play would have happened or maybe gotten bigger or, yeah. Because she was like, first I'm going to have, an area where the stage is these circus guys setting up the tents and like being excited that they get a night off. And then we're going to follow them as they walk into town talking about how excited they are to drink beer and see boobies. She didn't say that, but I imagine. And then another stage, we're going to see the firemen and how they keep fighting each other and they're all rough and rowdy and crazy. And then we're going to see them come together and then fight each other. And then I just think it's so funny. The only thing I picture when hearing about this is the same thing that I pictured when we were doing the Santa Claus bank robbery one, and it's like a cartoon of like people just running around all crazy, and like that music plays in the background, you know, like Tom and Jerry type music. Yes. Like this is what I picture.
I love it. Actually a cartoon. That's what I pictured as well. And you said Just Wait. Is there artwork?
No, my Just Wait was for the circus, the show. Okay, there really was excited. a bit of art for that, but you can probably look that up. This was the photo for the show they were going to put on.
Amazing! Oh, I was like, that doesn't look like a real giraffe. It's not. Okay, we're good.
That's a person. That's a human on stilts with a long
I was like, what the fuck's wrong with that giraffe?
Yeah. But, yeah, so apparently, I don't know, I didn't know if I wanted to say this part, but I'm going to. Apparently there's this Reddit thread, or I guess it wasn't a Reddit thread. I think it was on r/ask Reddit. But the question that was asked is, what is pieces of history that you literally cannot believe are real? And this riot, the circus riot, was one of those things.
I don't doubt it.
And I was like, yeah, it's hard to believe that this is real. So I had to talk about it.
I'm going to re-feel all of these things when I go to edit this episode. I'm like, what is happening?
What is happening?
That was a great story. I've never heard it. I am Canadian, so I'm mad at myself that I've never heard it. And I learned a lot about the East Coast, so that's cool. Great job.
Definitely cool. Thank you very much.
Hopefully that cheered you guys up as much as it did me after all of these heavy stories back to back to back. But yeah, before we get on out of here, Sierra, what day is it?
Today is February 28th, and on this day in 2013, the brains of 2 rats successfully connected so that they shared information. Yeah, so it's not like they took the 2 brains.
Did that to those rats, but that's a separate.
It's not like they took the 2 brains and like squished them together. That's not how it worked.
No.
It's like
electrodes.
Exactly, it was electrodes. They had 2 different rats in 2 different cages. One of them knew the way out of the other one's cage or something.
Yeah.
And, like, one of them knew information that the other one had no way of knowing. But when they put the electrodes on him, the one that shouldn't have known now knew. So they were, like, telepathically communicating to each other. How cool. Crazy is that? Yeah.
Say that rats are super fucking smart and great mothers, so think twice before you kill them.
Super smart. But the purpose of of testing this technology was so that eventually there could be some sort of therapies aimed at restoring movement or language after a stroke or brain injury. So a healthy part of your brain can tell the not healthy part of your brain, hey, you're supposed to do this.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be your own brain. However, when they tested these 2 rats, one of them was in North Carolina and the other one was in Brazil.
Sorry,
and they could communicate to each other.
How?
And it really scares me that, like,
get this technology. That would make our lives so much easier.
But also, how scary would it be if, like, the government put electrodes in all of us and then just mind controlled us?
Don't say that.
Literally, actual mind control. Like, that's terrifying.
We are speaking hypothetically for any government members that may or may not be listening.
We're fucking on to you, okay? Just put it down.
She's
the jig is up.
She's hostile. Everything's fine. Don't electrode her.
Is it the jig or the gig?
I think the jig.
The gig is up.
No, the jig is up.
The jig is up?
Yeah.
The gig. The
no,
jig.
because the gig is like if your band gets a gig at a bar. I think it's jig.
Oh. It's jig. Yep. The jig is up.
Oh, thank God. I'm so always wrong with
the
sayings
scheme or
idioms.
deception is revealed or foiled. That was the definition.
I don't like it. You got caught, bitch. That should be what the definition was.
A jig is an energetic dance, but during Elizabethan times. There you go. Jig also came to mean a trick or a practical joke. Therefore, when the jig is up, it means that the practical joke has been exposed.
Oh, that's cute. I like that one.
Yeah, me too.
They kind of
More
make
fun
the
facts.
same. When you say the jig is up to somebody, like,
yeah,
could be either. I'm really glad I was right though, because I don't need another cutest thing since sliced bread incident. Anyways, guys, we love you guys lots. Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please leave a rating and review. It makes us so happy, and it helps others find us. And you can also check out our Patreon if you're craving some more twisted content. And you can check out our social media if you want to know what's going on. Updates on Sierra's store. She's got some new night crawlers in stock, maybe, by the time this episode is out. I don't know. They could be gone. She got chunks, guys. I'm learning she got chunks here.
It was thick at the bottom.
Like sand.
I'm gonna start only drinking this one with a straw so I can mix.
As you drink. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We will be back with more wine and sangrias in the weeks to come. So send us your suggestions on those and case suggestions. And we will see you next week for a serial killer.
Yeah.
And in the meantime,
keep it twisted.
Thank you for listening to Twisted and Uncorked Podcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can also check out all of our sources and materials, as well as photos for the episode, on our website at twistedanduncorked.com. And you can follow us on social media at Twisted and Uncorked or Twisted_pod on Twitter. Thank you so much for all of your love and support, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode. Cheers!